hot button topics in boxing right now is obviously Canelo and Benavidez, and you have like one of the best vantage points to that because you've been covering David Benavidez since he was a prospect.
Right.
So what kind of insight could you give into where we're at now presently with Canelo and Benavidez?
If they were fighting in 2 weeks, Benavidez would beat him, but they're not. Benavidez is fighting his next fight at 175. Benavidez was last seen tipsy and messed up. I love
you were there.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And he was man enough to apologize it. And all the enablers came out and said, don't apologize. You're a grown man. You could drink. No, he knew the seriousness to what he had done by showing up in public like that when he's becoming one of the faces of boxing, who is set to, no matter how much Canelo talks, at some point probably land the biggest fight in boxing. So if Canelo was fighting him in 2 weeks, I think David would win the fight. But he's not. And he's going to 75 and going back down to 68. And Canelo seeing the drinking and stuff, it gives the aging champion the edge and the life he needs to get the job done. So now if they fight in September or November, he might lose where I otherwise would have picked him to win because of the weight, because of seeing him be in South Florida. Brendan, again, I told you, so smart. Brendan calls me. You know your boy's in Miami, right? And I go, oh no, and because we knew what the implications of that would very well lead to. Sure enough, next time I see David at the Hitchens fight, he's messed up, and that fucked me up because I believe in David and I believe
he really does. By the way, guys, me and Sean have debated years about Benavidez.
I told you he'd beat Andre. my boogeyman beat your boogeyman. I'm sorry, but I like. Because I believe in what he brings to the game, which is being elite and exciting. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that could carry a pay-per-view torch and give you your fucking money's worth on a consistent basis and actually be good enough to usually win. Yeah, maybe you're going to lose a fight at some point if you fight the best on pay-per-view continuously. But I think he can beat a lot of these guys, especially the 5'9" aging, great all-time great Canelo. I think he was going to beat him in a couple weeks. But now Canelo is getting a good tune-up in Munguia. Munguia is a good tune-up for David. And I feel like they boxed David in a little bit. Like, at the end of the day, they could always say he could have fought Morrell and stayed at 68. That's on him. But he doesn't want to take that fight. Morrell is huge risk, low reward. He doesn't actually bring anything to the table yet except a possible L because he's so talented and so good 10 fights in. And realistically, bro, Benavidez Morrell deserves to be a legit pay-per-view, not a rush job. So it's like you offered him that fight. You don't got no other fights at 68? Can't make a Christian Mabili? Can't do – that's it, huh? It's either David Morrell or go to 75. That to me feels like y'all set him up to go to 75 so that Canelo could get what he wants as the A side. You want me to do this fucking Benavidez fight so bad? Treat me right, man. Give me the Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. Put something that tips the scales in my favor so I'll fight this young killer.
Correct. Give him that advantage.
And I feel like, that's me doing my conspiracy theory, but I do kind of feel like that was the real point of giving him only two options. Morrell at 68, meant to be turned down, or Vosdick at 75, go up, go back down for a guy who already is super big for the weight and probably should be a light heavyweight by now anyways. And if your plan is David, and no, I'm not going to let them do that to me. I'm going to stay at 75, right? Well, good luck actually making a fight with those guys who are fighting in Saudi Arabia and have a rematch clause. And you know what I mean? What are you going to do? He already said his contract won't let him go to Saudi. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, Bivol is out the question. So
you're going to make the winner of the undisputed light heavyweight championship fight take a discount and fight you in America?
That's not happening.
He's being set up to fight Canelo later this year, in my opinion. And now the scales have been tipped a little bit to help Canelo's chances. That to me is the real what's gone on behind closed doors with the people running the show. Could be wrong.
And on top of you,
being a Benavidez fan,
or Canelo always has that Edgar Berlanga fight in his back pocket.
Yeah,
Mexico, Puerto Rico. That's an easier fight. It's not going to take as much damage. Won't be as hard. It's more winnable.
Still dust Jamal Charlewall.
Yeah. Yeah. Charlo's a champion. Boy, I've been waiting for him to say that.
He's undefeated.
He's undefeated, never lost. You know, he's that
Division
guy.
champ. Knows how to sell a fight.
He does. Sean, Hyro says that Eddie Hearn signs Americans, but he doesn't understand us.
I love how Hyro is a British person saying us because he identifies as American.
No, that's not Hyro. That's Shakur. You're thinking of Shakur.
Oh, Shakur. My bad, Hyro.
Hyro's actually American, but
my bad. I'm thinking of Shakur. Your boy Shakur. Yeah. So Brennan talked about it already, and Eddie's got a decision to make. It's like, I ate a lot of money on a bunch of bullshit fights early in DAZN's tenure. Maybe I should eat a lot of money for a really good fight, and Jaron, Ennis, and Crawford. But BT, the issue is Ennis might not win, and if he does win, that doesn't mean he's going to be a star. That could be Sugar Shane Mosley beating Oscar De La Hoya, and you're fighting Antonio Diaz in front of like 4,000 people in your next fight, anyways.
Or Bivol beating Canelo.
Right? Just because, and so that's the issue. So then Plan B is like kind of a glorified version of what happened with Andrade and Haney, which isn't the worst thing in the world. The fighter gets paid, he gets some hardware. Like it's not a horrible thing. But Andrade and Haney wound up winning the WBO for Andrade, the WBC for Devin. Devin wound up fighting better names than Andrade got, guys that we know, JoJo and Gamboa and Linares. But ultimately, like it didn't get what Eddie, of course, really wants out of it, a real American star. Devin had to say peace and went and got big fights with Top Rank. And then he came back and got Regis and said peace again to go get Ryan. And, Boo Boo wound up having his biggest fight on PBC. So he's in danger of that happening again if he can't find a way to really move the needle and make Boots a real star. He's in danger of moving him to 54, getting the WBA off Madrimov, getting the IBF off the Russian champ, and then Boots being like, thanks for these 2 belts. I'm going to try and like make a big fight again. With Al Haymon. Bye.
PBC and Al Haymon.
Yeah. So he gotta,
So it'll be intriguing to see how he handles all of it.
And I'm happy that Eddie got Boots. He needed him. I do feel like Eddie's heart is in the right place with boxing. Like he's here because he loves it, not because he needs it. So hopefully he's learned some good, valuable lessons from the Haney and Andrade experiences, and he's really ready to move the needle for Boots.
Well, we saw Eddie Hearn at the Hitchens fight, man. He looked very disengaged during the fights. Like he was on his phone a lot. He was staring at his phone, like standing at the ground, and
not when we were in front of him with cameras. He knows.
No, he knows. I'm talking about like when the fights were going on. A lot of times you see him looking down at his phone, and he wasn't all the way there. Because it's like I'm gonna paraphrase what you said, but it's like this isn't what he wanted. This isn't what he envisioned when he came to America, being at the Fontainebleau, which is on not the nicest part of Vegas. And he's got his guys Hitchens and Pacheco, who are good fighters, but not creme de la creme.
Foundational pieces.
Needle moving type of fighters, franchise fighters. Yeah.
No, those are guys you want to have on the extra part of your roster, and you want your foundational pieces. His foundational pieces right now are Andy Cruz and Boots.
Yeah.
He's going to have to find. But yeah, that's what we were saying. Like, Eddie's plan was to conquer America, not be having Pacheco and Hitchens on a doubleheader in front of 1,500 people. You know what I mean? And so we sensed from him, he needed something to happen to change his momentum. And then Boots came. So.
Yeah. So we'll see how